Welcome back to Cardigan Bay Fishing Adventures. If you're new here, my name is David Barber. Today I am spraying the boat. Today I'm going to be laying down the primer, which is a 2-pack Epoxy high build primer. The boat's been prepped everywhere. I've got a couple tiny little pinholes to sort out up the back, and there's a couple here somewhere. The rest of it though has all been done. Everything has been prepped now with 120 grit to give a good base for the rest of the primer that I'm pouring on. I have laid down one layer of primer. I did this one as a guide coat. So I've covered the whole boat and it highlighted everything, which was a lot more than I wanted, because I spent 6 to 7 days prepping and filling, prepping and filling. And I thought that should be enough, put the primer on. Well, I've put the primer on and I've done another, I think yesterday was day 5 of prep. So that's like 11, 12 days of sanding, 8 to 10 hours every single day. I've got this now as close as I'm going to get it. At the end of the day, it's a 25-year-old boat probably, maybe 30 years old. It's somewhere in the range of 20 to 30 anyway, I would say. I don't know that for definite, but that's my estimation. Everything's been done. If you've not watched any other videos of the rebuild, all of this is new fiberglass. I basically ground it out a lunk here, and I ground it down probably, I don't know, that deep maybe, probably 6, 7 layers worth of fiberglass, maybe more. And what I've done is refiberglass from this part to the other side, all the way down to the back. I will take you around with the camera now, just to show you around the boat quickly. It may be a bit shaky or something, but what I'm going to do now is a tiny little bit of prep, a very tiny little bit of prep. I'm not going crazy, just a little bit more, and I'm laying the primer down. I'm going to try and video it, but if it looks like there's loads of overspray, I do not want to get this camera sprayed because it's a brand new setup, so I'd rather not. And there is plenty of videos on YouTube of spraying. I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't really offer much advice. That was my first coat of spray paint, and yes, it went on perfect. I think I might have got lucky, but I need to do a full tin, 2.5 litres, which should give me 3 coats plus, should do. Let's have a quick walk around with the camera and I'll show you the boat. So as you can see here, it's fully prepped. If I get you closer to that, you can see where there was a big long low spot in the fiberglass along the edge. So, but it's pretty good, to be fair. There was a low spot here. So what we've got is a couple of little tiny holes which have opened up there. If you look, that's the little holes I'm on about. They are tiny, but I know they're there. And then looking down here, look. It's all prepped, it's all done. So all this side's also done. So the plan is now, give it a mist coat on these areas, like this. Give that a coat with primer all over on every little spot, give them a blast everywhere. Leave it for 15-20 minutes, and then start laying it on. You can see I struggled with this side where I did the repair, as you can see. But it does look good now. So the plan is paint it and see how it is. I'm trying to tell myself it is a 20, 30-year-old boat, so it's only going to be so good. Yeah, you can see from there. Fully prepped, I'm ready. So what I'm going to do now is have a quick look around, fill anywhere I can see right now, give it a quick sand, light sand, and in the next hour, I'm going to be laying down the paint. It's perfect weather for it as well. There's no wind and the sun's out. Right now it's about 22 degrees, so it's absolutely spot on. In here is a bit cooler because of the shade. It's not much cooler, a couple of degrees probably, but this is perfect conditions to spray in. And I'm not spraying in direct sunlight, which technically would be good, but at the same time, it makes everything kick a lot quicker. I'm obviously new to this, so I don't want it kicking really, really quick, meaning going off really quick. So spraying in here is technically helping me. The biggest problem I will have is getting rid of all the dust. It's very, very dusty in here, so I'll have to have a really good clean in here after I've finished everything. Anyway, I'm gonna stop waffling and I'm gonna crack on with it. So, we're at the stages just before paint. Obviously with this sort of step that I'm doing now, you should be wearing a mask and PPE. If I wear a mask, I can't talk to you. In here, I've got IPA, which is isopropyl alcohol. Basically, it's a rubbing alcohol. So I'm going to go over the whole boat now with this to clean all the surfaces. I have just been over and done a blow blew everything off, and then I've done a blow wipe. So I've got a cloth and I've gone over it all, blowing it with a cloth and wiping it at the same time. This surface now, you can feel it. I'm saying it's smooth. Obviously it's not smooth because it's been prepped and sanded, but this has got no grit in it or anything. It's nice. This is the final clean. I'll mix all the paint. Just before I get to paint it, I'll tack cloth it all. Obviously this is the primer stage. I'm not as stressed about the primer as I am the top coat. The top coat's a different story altogether. So I've just dipped it in. This is soaked. I've dipped it in, this is soaked, and it's literally, give it a good rub everywhere. And this evaporates. So this is going to get rid of any grease, any dirt, any grime. There is insects landing on it and them pooing on it, flies. So it'll clean all that off as well. If you have any contamination at all, there's a chance your paint could react and you'll end up with rippled paint and wrinkled paint after it's dried. So this stage is key. Take your time on it. Make sure you've got a good clean surface. This will probably take longer than the actual paint, believe it or not. So what I'm going to do now, give it a good scrub all over, and then we'll start mixing paint. It's exciting, but I'm nervous as well because I've only sprayed once, which was this before. It did turn out really, really well, really. But obviously this coat now is the important coat because I don't want to be primering it again after this. So what I'll have to do, primer it on, I'll flat it back with 320. So yeah, I'm giving this really, really hard scrub, and I'll keep flipping the cloth to a clean side, dipping it in and going again. I'm doing the top first because obviously I'm hanging all over the side of the boat. There's no point cleaning that bit yet. So I'll skip this step. You can see the process. You can see what I'm doing. And when you put it on, you'll see what I mean, the difference. When you look down it as well, you can see how flat the surface is. So hopefully the paint looks like that when I've done it. So yeah, right, I'm going to switch the camera off. I'm going to clean the whole boat and I'll start mixing paint. So, about to mix the paint now. I know you can't see me on the camera, but I wanted to show you the paint. It's SML Shield is what I'm using. This is a 2-pack, high build epoxy primer. What I'm going to do is open up the tin, show you what it looks like inside before I mix it, just to give you an idea if you ever purchased it yourself. I did have a bit of a hiccup with this paint when I first used it. When I opened the tin, I thought there was something wrong with it. I've mixed it and I used it on the boat and it come out like anti-slip finish. That wasn't my plan. So what I have to do is drop the camera down to show it you, but you'll see what I mean. As you can see, this is the paint look. You can see how thick it is. It's almost like a fiberglass filler. And this is normal. Yes, it's separated, but that's just the way it goes. I've got a paint mixer here. So what I'm going to do is stir this heavily right now. So when you mix this, because it's so thick, you have to hold it in between your feet. You can hear the drill struggling. I'm only on slow. I will speed it up in a minute. But at the bottom, it's so thick at the bottom, it's unreal. But this is normal. I did have problems with the first lot of paint that I used. So I got back in touch with the company and they sorted me out straight away. I showed them the paint finish, showed them the paint. For some reason there was lumps in it, bits in it, brown lumps. And they said it must be a bad batch. We are really, really sorry. They sent me out this tin straight away. They sent me out some free thinner as well, which is really good of them. They never had to do that. But yeah, they sorted it out straight away. And then they did a check on the batch that they've got their own batch. There's a sticker on here with a batch number. They checked the batch, said the batch is fine. So we don't know what's gone wrong, basically. So I'm going to put it into high speed. That is what you're aiming for right there. Nice and smooth now, as you can see. So I'm going to start weighing this out and get part 2 put into it, and then we'll start reducing it then as well. So we've got the data sheet here, and this is all the mixing ratios. We've got a light base, which is this section. Dark base is different. What I'm going to do, I think I'm going to mix up a litre to start with. What I wanted to do was mix the whole tin, but what I'm worried is if I'm taking my time, that could start kicking and going off potentially. So I'm going to mix a litre first, which is 1,484 grams. Then you've got to add 128 of the activator, and then I'm going to be reducing it. So what we'll do now, pour in 1,484 into here in grams and start mixing. And obviously it goes without saying, you need everything as clean as physically possible. Obviously, I'm not in the best position where I am right here. I'm in a barn, open barn. A tractor comes past, you get a load of dust kicked up and stuff, so I've got to work with what I've got. I'm nearly there. I forgot how much it was now. $1,484 is what I need. You can see how thick this stuff is. That's perfect. 1,484, dead on. It's just gone to 1,485, but that's close enough. So what we've got here now is the comp B. So what I need to do is fill this up until we reach 1,612. That's the total. So it should be 128 grams. So we'll go to 1,612 with this now. On top of that, double check it's the right one. High build epoxy primer comp B. So you can see that's quite thin, but we need 1,612. We've gone to 1,613, which is fine because we went 1 gram over with the other stuff. So now this is ready to mix. So what you need to do, add the sections together like I have, then mix it. Then we'll weigh it and add in the 10% reducer after. You don't want to reduce it before. It needs to be reduced after. We need to get this mixed really, really well. But that's it now. We're on a time limit. I'm going to use a wooden stick, like one from the doctors that you put on your tongue, and just scrape the edges to make sure we've got none of that stuff stuck around the sides. On the scale now, we've got 165.6. So what I need to put in here now is 165 grams of reducer. That'll thin it to 10%. So I'm going to zero it out, and I'm going to put in 165 grams of this reducer. It's the epoxy thinner, look. You need the right thinners as well. Nearly there. Gone over just a tiny little bit by 3 grams. That's not a problem. Now, same again, get it back on the floor and mix it again. So what we'll do now, mix this well like I'm doing. I'm going to tack cloth the boat and then start spraying. I'll show you the difference with it now quickly. It's a hell of a difference compared to what it was. See it there off the spoon. Very, very thin. What we're going to do, tack cloth the boat quickly and start getting this in the spray gun. The battery's going flat on the camera, so I'm trying to be as quick as I can. So what you're going to do is open this out like this and sort of just let it float in your hand, and we're going to wipe over the boat lightly. Basically you want to glide This is literally, if you look, it's gliding over the boat. That's all you want. Just a little quick glide everywhere. Just like this. Just to pick up any bits that may have settled on it when we've been mixing paint and stuff. So you don't want to press it onto the boat. It's actually looking very clean. You don't want to press it onto the boat because you'll leave waxy residue there. So it's literally a light skim over it, just like this. To be fair, it is pretty clean, and I am only spraying a boat. I'm not spraying a Ferrari. So I'll get it as good as I can. And I'll check this cloth again now once I finish doing this, just to see how much crap's coming off. But I don't think there's much. There's actually nothing. So it is nice and clean. It's a good sign. You can see it's spotless. So unfold it, refold it another way, and the same again. It's a really quick pass over it. And don't forget, that paint's activated now. So it's already started to go off. I'm really not sure how well you can hear me with that compressor running, probably not very well. I've done the paint, I've also sieved the paint. Right there. So it's in the spray gun now. So basically I'm going to connect the air, do a quick practice on something, just something lying around, just to check the fan, and I'm going to spray. So I can't actually take you around the boat because I'm actually charging, unfortunately. But as you can see from there, hopefully, I've just done a mist coat on all the patchy areas where I've sanded through the primer. This, I'm going to give this just a few minutes. I'm going to put more paint in the cup, and then we're going to start going for coverage. So it's had a little mist coat, so it'll become tacky. What it's going to do is help stop any runs, stuff like that. Yeah, we're going to start laying it on then. With the gun, you couldn't see what I did. Inside that gun, there's a liner. You can see it's squished right down. So what you do, once you fill the cup with paint, you turn it upside down. I'm not going to pull the trigger because paint will come out of it, but you pull the trigger all the way in. Once paint flies out, you've removed all the air out the bag, and you can literally use this gun in any orientation. You can spray upside down if you want to. So what I'm going to do is take this cup off. We're going to put more paint in it. But be careful because it's going to make a mess. This is where I made a mess before. And I made a little bracket just to hold the gun. It's not ideal, but it's doing the job. So now, the liner has come back out, look. The liner's open back up. I had problems with this as well last time. Right. What we need to do, get another paint filter. One of these, they're just cheap things, but it's better than not having anything at all. Gonna give the paint another really quick stir. And don't forget, this is only a litre I've mixed up. We've still got another litre and a half. So I'm gonna keep going and going and going until all that paint's gone. And we've just done a pretty much full mist coat over the boat. So, paint filter, if you want to call it that, into the cup, pour some paint in. This is just to lift out any big lumps, and the spray gun I'm using is the 3M Aki spray. There is a filter in the lid, but I've actually pulled that filter out of the lid, because this being high build primer, I will probably have difficulties it coming out the gun. I'm hoping I've not just put too much in here. I think I have. I don't want it to overflow. But I want as much in the gun as possible this time now, because I want to empty it on the boat. Nice full cup. Yeah, I'm really nervous because I've never actually sprayed with a gun before. I've done the first coat once, obviously, but now this is it. This is the proper paint coat. So, obviously none of this is ideal. We're in a barn. I've never done it before. I don't know what I'm doing, in theory. Just winging it, but at the end of the day, it's what you got to do sometimes. So carefully close the lid. Make sure it's on all of the catches, because you do not see it's not on this catch, look. That could have been a disaster, couldn't it? Double check it's on all your catches, which now it is. Get the gun. That's on. Lift it up, make sure you've got no paint leaking anywhere. We don't. So what I'm going to do now is fire the air compressor back up. Obviously it's too loud for all you to hear anything, and I'm going to start spraying it on. I don't really want to touch the boat as such, but yeah, this is ready. I'll try and touch it in an area where, yeah, I can go over that again. So now I'm going to sort of go for coverage. So I'm sorry about the video being so far away. I don't know what the battery is. It says it's full, but it's not. I'll try and unplug here and see what happens. We've already got insects in here as well, which is what we do not want. So I'm going to fire the compressor back up. Have you here so you can see, hopefully. Let's go.